Painting is poetry that is seen rather than felt, and poetry is painting that is felt rather than seen. A painter should begin every canvas with a wash of black, because all things in nature are dark except where exposed by the light. Once you have tasted flight, you will forever walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward, for there you have been, and there you will always long to return. Study without desire spoils the memory, and it retains nothing that it takes in. It had long since come to my attention that people of accomplishment rarely sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and happened to things. The painter has the universe in his mind and hands. Nothing strengthens authority so much as silence. I love those who can smile in trouble. One can have no smaller or greater mastery than mastery of oneself. The noblest pleasure is the joy of understanding. I have from an early age abjured the use of meat, and the time will come when men such as I will look upon the murder of animals as they now look upon the murder of men. Nothing can be loved or hated unless it is first understood. The smallest feline is a masterpiece. Art is never finished, only abandoned. As a well-spent day brings happy sleep, so life well used brings happy death. If you are alone you belong entirely to yourself. If you are accompanied by even one companion you belong only half to yourself or even less in proportion to the thoughtlessness of his conduct, and if you have more than one companion you will fall more deeply into the same plight. I love those who can smile in trouble, who can gather strength from distress, and grow brave by reflection. 'Tis the business of little minds to shrink, but they whose heart is firm, and whose conscience approves their conduct, will pursue their principles unto death. Learning never exhausts the mind. The knowledge of all things is possible. The greatest deception men suffer is from their own opinions. There are three classes of people: those who see when they are shown, those who do not see. Principles for the development of a complete mind: study the science of art. Study the art of science. Develop your senses, especially learn how to see. Realize that everything connects to everything else. I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Being willing is not enough, we must do. It is easier to resist at the beginning than at the end. The deeper the feeling, the greater the pain. The function of muscle is to pull and not to push, except in the case of the genitals and the tongue. As you cannot do what you want what you can do. One has no right to love or hate anything if one has not acquired a thorough knowledge of its nature. Great love springs from great knowledge of the beloved object, and if you know it but little you will be able to love it only a little or not at all. I thought I was learning to live, I was only learning to die. Every now and then go away, have a little relaxation, for when you come back to your work your judgment will be surer. Go some distance away because then the work appears smaller and more of it can be taken in at a glance and a lack of harmony and proportion is more readily seen. I'm not contented to capture the world. I want to change it. Learning is the only thing the mind never exhausts, never fears, and never regrets. Whatever you do in life, if you want to be creative and intelligent, and develop your brain, you must do everything with the awareness that everything, in some way, connects to everything else. Life is pretty simple: you do some stuff. Most fails. Some works. You do more of what works. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. There are three classes of people: those who see when they are shown, those who do not see. To be a winner you must want to win but must know of the chance of losing and must not fear of it. The greatest deception men suffer is from their own opinions. A clever man without wisdom is like a beautiful flower without fragrance. Not to punish evil is equivalent to authorizing it. It's not enough that you believe what you see. You must also understand what you see. Your brain is much better than you think, just use it. Experience is a truer guide than the words of others. The most beautiful words of love are told in silence for a look. Be a mirror, absorb everything around you and still remain the same. Beauty perishes in life, but is immortal in art. The greatest geniuses sometimes accomplish more when they work less. Practice should always be based upon a sound knowledge of theory. We know well that mistakes are more easily detected in the works of others than in one's own. I am not poor. Poor are those who desire many things. Average human looks without seeing, listens without hearing, touches without feeling, eats without tasting, moves without physical awareness, inhales without awareness of odor or fragrance, and talks without thinking. Nothing strengthens authority so much as silence. He who wishes to be rich in a day will be hanged in a year. All thoughts start from emotions. As a well-spent day brings happy sleep, so life well used brings happy death. Water is the driving force of all nature. Nature is full of infinite causes that have never occurred in experience. There is no result in nature without a cause. Understand the cause and you will have no need of the experiment. Nature never breaks her own laws. The eye, the window of the soul, is the chief means whereby the understanding can most fully and abundantly appreciate the infinite works of nature, and the ear is second. Human subtlety will never devise an invention more beautiful, more simple or more direct than does nature, because in her inventions nothing is lacking, and nothing is superfluous. Nature varies the seed according to the variety of the things she desires to produce in the world. Although nature commences with reason and ends in experience, it is necessary for us to do the opposite, that is to commence with experience and from this to proceed to investigate the reason. Nature appears to have been the cruel stepmother rather than the mother of many animals. Now do you not see that the eye embraces the beauty of the whole world? It counsels and corrects all the arts of mankind. It is the prince of mathematics, and the sciences founded on it are absolutely certain. It has measured the distances and sizes of the stars, it has discovered the elements and their location. It has given birth to architecture and to perspective and to the divine art of painting. O neglectful nature, wherefore art thou thus partial, becoming to some of thy children a tender and benignant mother, to others a most cruel and ruthless stepmother? I see thy children given into slavery to others without ever receiving any benefit, and in lieu of any reward for the services they have done for them they are repaid by the severest punishments. Nothing will be left, nothing in the air, nothing under the earth, nothing in the waters. All will be exterminated. The eye transmits its own image through the air to all the objects which face it, and also receives them on its own surface, whence the sensus communis takes them and considers them. We might say that the earth has a spirit of growth, that its flesh is the soil, its bones the arrangement and connection of the rocks of which the mountains are composed, its cartilage the tufa, and its blood the springs of water. I say that the power of vision extends through the visual rays to the surface of non-transparent bodies, while the power possessed by these bodies extends to the power of vision. Of the four elements, water is the second in weight and the second in respect of mobility. It is never at rest until it unites with the sea. Of several bodies, all equally large and equally distant, that which is most brightly illuminated will appear to the eye nearest and largest. If you throw a stone in a pond, the waves which strike against the shores are thrown back towards the spot where the stone struck, and on meeting other waves they never intercept each other's course. In a small pond one and the same stroke gives birth to many motions of advance and recoil. If you are on the side whence the wind is blowing you will see the trees looking much lighter than you would see them on the other sides, and this is due to the fact that the wind turns up the reverse side of the leaves, which in all trees is much wider than the upper side. Music cannot be called otherwise than the sister of painting, for she is dependent upon hearing, a sense second to sight, and her harmony is composed of the union of its proportional parts sounded simultaneously, rising and falling in one or more harmonic rhythms. Marriage is like putting your hand into a bag of snakes in the hope of pulling out an eel. Music cannot be called otherwise than the sister of painting, for she is dependent upon hearing, a sense second to sight, and her harmony is composed of the union of its proportional parts sounded simultaneously, rising and falling in one or more harmonic rhythms. The sun gives spirit and life to the plants and the earth nourishes them with moisture.